All right, welcome everyone. And I can actually say that people are listening to this because I've heard people talking about it. So thank you for tuning into the fourth episode of this still tentatively named podcast, Out of the Gloom. We'll see if that's copywritten, if we're going to get in trouble for using that. Obviously, we'll do the right thing here. But before I get started, I just want to give a quick disclaimer as always. While we talk a lot about F3, you can check out f3nation.com for more information. This is not quite yet an officially sanctioned F3 podcast. Huckleberry, I'm looking at you when I say that. Well, maybe we can talk later about moving it in that direction. But we, of course, want this podcast primarily to serve the men of the Shamanwood region of F3, which is Shanahan, Manuka, and Shorewood in Wilmington and that area here in Illinois. But we want to introduce
Morse.
that to Morris, yeah, more moving towards Morris too. That's right. We've got a lot of audiences that we want this to speak to, and whether that's introducing F3 to new men or keeping the men who are already in the gloom plugged into what's going on around the region. So, to that end, for those of you who are joining us and perhaps new to F3 as an organization, let's give a quick reminder of what that stands for. It is fitness, fellowship, and faith. That's basically what we'll be talking about today. As always, please welcome my partner in crime, Doghouse. I appreciate you being here, Doghouse. He's actually not here. He's where are you today, Doghouse?
I am in beautiful sunny San Diego. We finally got a little sun. It's coming and going, but out here for a conference for the week.
All right. And he was good enough to take time out of his day to join us anyway. And our third man is actually one of the first men in the region who showed a lot of interest in this podcast and encouraged us to get it going. And that is none other than Mr. Rooney himself. Rooney, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Excited to be here, talk about F3, and
Great.
be part of this process.
Good, good. Well, before we jump too far into the first F, the second F, and the third F, Doghouse, as always, would you mind sharing F3's core values?
One, we are open to all men. Two, we are free of charge. Three, we are held outside, rain, shine, heat, or cold. Four, we are peer-led in a rotating fashion. And five, we always enter in a circle of trust.
All right. How about you hit us with that F3 mission?
We have a mission made of a task and a purpose to plant, grow, and serve small workout groups for men for the invigoration of male community leadership.
Awesome. And finally, close, please, with the F3 credo.
To leave no man behind, but leave no man where you find him.
Perfect. All
Three for
right, so
three.
that is what we'll be talking about a little bit today. We, of course, will start with a section on first F. I'd love to hear a little bit from the men on the panel here about your favorite workout from the past week, something that stood out to you, something that was particularly meaningful. Rudy, why don't you kick us off? I know you've had a special experience this weekend.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to go downrange with some other packs for the Kankakee Convergence. There were about six of us from the Shaman region that went down. We clown card, which means we drove down together. It was me, Storm Chaser, Deja Vu, Yoshi, Flanders, Miata, all made it down to that convergence, and we were joined by our brothers from Plainfield, the Nantan Meta, Sparky, Hanger, and Hank Hill. And then we went down there to a park in Bradley, Illinois, and did a workout. It was cool to see just how different regions do different things. It was cool to
Mhm.
see how they arranged a convergence and led a convergence. There was 29 of us there. First thing that stood out to me is there's a guy named Rebarb. He actually made his coupon out of rebarb. So he welded a coupon out of rebarb. He painted it
Mhm.
silver. It weighed 45 pounds. That was neat to see. And it was neat to see the passion of three guys organize this convergence, had three different stations within it. We started off in the group with a warm up, and then we quickly divided into groups of three. They had three different stations that lasted about 20 minutes each. The first station that I attended was right by the hill where we did kind of a Dora. We burpee broad jumped while we did backward sit ups from bottom of the hill up. Me and a partner. Then we went into bear crawls, and we did Mike Tyson's. And then finally, we did mountain climbers and murder bunnies. So we
Mhm.
went through that rotation like three times. And then the entire group shifted. My favorite workout of the convergence was a tire flip. So one person flipped a tire, tried to get to the other end, while the other person did burpees, five burpees, and we were flipped in back and forth. And probably the hardest station, which wouldn't sound that hard, is we rifle carried with our coupons and stopped at every bench. We did 5 curls, 5 overhead press, 5 Merkins, and then every bench we added 5 more. So we went around like twice, and it was maybe a quarter-mile loop, but by the end you're at like 25, 30 exercises.
Wow.
And then it was a lot. We went back, did our Mary, and I learned a new exercise, which I'm going to bring to the gloom soon. It's called, I can't remember the name of it, but everyone holds their coupon out in front of them. And then each pack slaps everyone else's coupon. And then once you get back to your spot, the next person goes, and you kind of go around in a circle like that. And you do it till everyone goes, but you're holding your coupon out like this while everyone else slaps it, and you go around in the circle. It was a cool event. And then Sunshine, 24-year-old kid, graduate of Olivet Nazarene, started the Kankakee region. He moved away. He came back. He was up with us for a couple times and learned how to cue, learned what it was when he came up to Three Rivers, but then started this region in Kankakee and gave a great COT about D-Day and about the fact that actually the day before was the anniversary of D-Day, and he read Dwight D. Eisenhower's speech to the troops, what he said to everybody the day before D-Day, and really talked about how the fact it's a privilege to get up in the gloom and work out at 5:15. And these men weren't coming back to their families. They're charging this beach. 50, 60% of them aren't going to make it up. And the hardest thing we have to do is run around with coupons at 5:15 and work out. So it really put things in perspective. They had donuts, they had coffee. And I think the best part of it was the Plainfield men and the Shamrock men all went out for breakfast afterwards and had a great second F conversation. It was good to mingle and really show and support what Kankakee was doing. So it was their first conversion after 3 years, and I look forward to the next one.
Yeah, I think Sunshine and Rebar have both been up here to the Chamonix region because I remember seeing that coupon, that Rebar coupon. That was really cool. And Sunshine, I think, came up to look at the Black Diamond layout.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so cool to see a kid, a man that age, taking such big steps forward for that region. That's really great. What about you, Doghouse? What was your favorite workout of the week?
I gotta see this rebar. I thought I was slick with my little single pole, but I gotta see this guy's coupon. To your question though, what was mine? Storm Chaser was on cue Wednesday morning. Nice wet Wednesday morning at the Wood for the Black Diamond Lift Club. So a little bit earlier to start there. This one was a burner, man. Some guys just have that evil mindset. Him, Picasso, Sparkler, they just have that whatever you want to call it, intuition to make something really suck. And what Storm had going on was basically we had a bunch of plates, 45s, 35s. We had some kettlebells, various 40, 45-pound weights. And what you had to do was farmer carry 2 plates or 2 dumbbells or 2 whatever kettlebells around the perimeter of the parking lot. I don't know the exact distance, but I guess if you do the big wood, the big lot, the perimeter is maybe quarter to a third of a mile. It's a pretty good distance. So the point is you have to carry your weight on your fingertips, right? And when you have to set it down, when you can't carry it anymore, you've got 10 Merkins and a lap around. You drop your weights exactly where it is, and then you come back and do it again. You pick up from where you left off. So once you made a complete lap, which was back at the pavilion, you had 5 burpees. My arms, it hurt to drive my truck that day because just grabbing the steering wheel was enough from what he had. So when you could take a beat down and affect, obviously without injury, but when you can affect everyday life of, when you can tear down the muscle enough to affect everyday life, I think you've done something special. So that was my workout of the week. So shout out to Storm Chaser on that one.
Yeah, I'll back that up with a shout out. So that was the Black Diamond at the Wood. We were at the boot camp at the Wood, a couple hundred yards away under the other pavilion because it was raining and you guys were outside walking the parking lot. And Deja Vu said at one point, I think it was during the AAR, he said, I know it's raining, but we should have been outside. I think he was jealous, looking at you guys across the parking lot. He wanted to be there doing the same thing. But the reason I bring that up is because it's the day that Miata took over as a site Q, and that's really awesome to see. Again, another man stepping up on the region taking on a key role, and really excited to see him step up to that
So I learned
challenge.
a very important lesson that morning. Gore-Tex shoes are great at keeping water out. They're also great at keeping water in.
Yeah,
So yeah, my shoes were soaked and my socks were soaked. So now my garage smells like wet shoe because I had to dry them out. But little sidebar there on that.
yeah, that's the double-edged sword of Gore-Tex. You
Mhm.
can't get water out of those shoes. But well, I wanted to focus on my favorite workout of the week was actually the day before at the Wood, Tuesday. I'm site Q at the Run Club, and I got a chance to run with Six Sheets, and we talked a lot about zone two running, like keeping yourself in a zone that's burning fat, but not as fast as you could be going. So purposely slowing yourself down a bit. And that was really good for me to learn that from him. And I just he's been getting more into running again after not being as active in the winter. But it's been great for me to run with him after he had been one of those guys really early on for me who always stayed with me during runs, who was always chirping in my ear, like, you're doing good, Puddles, like, you've got this, keep going. So I just really enjoyed running with him again, and being able to give that support right back to him. So that was my workout of the
You have
week
an
on
honorary
Tuesday.
mention for workout of the week. I got to throw out there real quick. Monday
Yes.
night barbecue always brings them out, right? We had
All right.
26 and we had 6 FNGs at an evening workout. So shout out to baby mama, Norm, and who was grilling? Dutch Boy. Shout out to Dutch Boy and everybody that came out to that. So that was a good one for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, those barbecues are going to be great for grabbing
Hmm.
attention and keeping guys out.
And just we were talking to, I just want to mention Squid's workout to honor his. I don't know if you guys were
Hmm.
there for it, to honor
Yeah.
Yes.
Rooster, someone he served with who took his own life. It was great, great workout. It was hard, and it was also great to hear the message about you never know what a man's doing and continue to reach out. So that was a great message to hear again as well.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
agree. Absolutely. All right, let's shift really quickly to um, a spotlight on one of the AOs. Rooney, I know you and I were going to talk about the campus, the world's smartest AO, we call it. It's at Manuka Junior High. There are boot camps there on Thursday morning at 5:15. What would you like to talk about the campus, Rooney?
It's going to be counterintuitive, but I hated the campus the first couple times I went to there. Like, I'm like,
Really?
this is far. Why are we not at Three Rivers anymore? I don't want to be here. I don't like it. And then
Hmm.
the Packs have used the track so much that I've
Hmm.
really loved to enjoy using that track, because we didn't use it at the beginning. It was the winter, and
Right.
I'm sure we weren't on it, but we're on that
Mhm.
track all the time now, and it really adds something. So I highly encourage use a track. It's a great opportunity. Clearly, we're not going to put coupons on the track because we want to keep the track safe. But the last 4 or 5 workouts on the track have been great. I know you and I have done a lot of running on the
Hmm.
track, a lot of e-seeing on the track. I enjoy the straightaway. You don't get that long of a paved straightaway very often, and it's a great opportunity to use that paved straightaway when you can go straight almost a quarter, maybe even more than a quarter of a mile from the entrance all the way to that back parking lot. So
Hmm.
it's been an AO that I didn't like, but I've learned to love it. And if it just had a hill, it'd be perfect.
Yeah, and that back area, that back lot is really understated. Like it's hard to explain the difference between the temperature and the wind in the front section versus that back lot. There's practically no wind in the back lot. And that when it's 10 degrees or colder in the winter, that makes a huge difference. I know Ricola did a great job of doing like tours of the AO and getting guys to move around it and see different parts of it. Um, but yeah, it's definitely got that the track is probably its strongest feature, and I'm getting more accustomed to running on it as well.
And that football field in the fall is going to be fun because it's going to be striped, and it'll be a great opportunity to do some
Hmm.
workouts on there with a striped field.
Yeah, it's great. Anything you wanted to add, Doghouse, or another AL you wanted to talk about?
No, that's great. We opened right on Halloween Day, right? And I think that was Mr. Burns not VQ, FNG post, if I'm not mistaken. I remember he was huffing and puffing, so it's been great to see him come along. My own personal little anecdote during reindeer games, I think I queued 3 or 4 straight queues that were all negative temperature.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I did a farmer's carry on one, which was not wise, but um, cold and concrete cinder blocks don't go well together. But yeah, it's a great AO. Like you guys said, it pretty much has everything but a hill. And I think there is even a little hill back there over towards the elementary school. But yeah, it's great AO. It's great for us to get into Manuka. I know that was an important part of SLT's goal was to put them in the Shaman Wood, and that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, interestingly enough, if you went on an EC run, I don't know which direction it is on the main street, but there's a really big hill. Like if
Mm.
you go far enough, like a mile and a half down, and it's a killer hill coming back up. It's really long, really steady.
Yeah,
Obviously not easy to
Picasso,
outlines.
work out though.
Picasso once said in a pre-blast, and I went for it hook, line, and sinker. He says, "This is the longest road hill in Will County, or the highest
Hmm.
road hill in Will County." And I was like,
Hmm.
"Really?" Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's turned into one of my favorites. I look forward to queuing there again and using that track.
good. Was there a downrange AO you want to talk about, Rooney?
Yeah, I think my favorite downrange AO is the pier in St. Petersburg.
Okay.
If you, I would highly encourage any PAX who's ever in Petersburg or even Tampa. It's worth a 45-minute drive just to work out there. It's the St. Petersburg Pier. You park right there, and your entire workout is on a pier. So you go from one end to the other end of the pier is probably almost 3/4 of a mile, and there's a little beach there, and then there's an airport on the left, so you can see little planes kind of landing, and you're truly on the pier. There's a pavilion, there's a hill, there's anything you would want in that pier area, from trees to bleachers to boardwalks to a little uphill. It's just an amazing experience to be on the water, working out
Mm.
on the water. And that's something a lot of us get to do, especially in Illinois. But that ability to just be on the water and running down to the end of the pier and it's dark out and you have the fishing pier and all you see is black and you're sitting there
Mm.
doing, and there's a little pavilion, you're doing step ups or you're doing push ups or you're doing Merkins or you're doing different exercises or a lot of abs. That ability to just have that quiet with the water and the waves lapping around you is just a cool experience.
That's pretty cool. I'm sure that's some of what you might see Doghouse in San Diego by being on the beach, being close to water, different kind
The
of darkness.
AO in Del Mar is called Hasselhoff. It's on 17th Street Beach. So
Mm.
hopefully I'll have a good story next week when we do this. I'm gonna check them
Yeah.
out Wednesday or Thursday. Wednesday, I think it is.
Okay.
Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
That's a great name for an
Yep.
AO. All right, well,
Yeah.
let's change gears. Let's move into the second F portion. Rooney is here as the third man, and that's always a great opportunity for us to get to know the packs. Everybody in the region knows Rooney, of course, but these questions are intended to get a bit into uh, who Rooney is, what his experience has been like, some of the things that we don't always get a chance to talk about, even at cafeteria or rucks. So, excuse me, Doghouse, why don't you kick us off with the first couple of questions, and I'll jump in with a few after that.
Most obvious one to start with. When and how did you find, excuse me, F3? And do you happen to know what your current post count is as of today?
I did. I was given homework that I successfully accomplished. My post count is 745.
Nice.
I started first football game about 3 years ago, Manuka football game. My son was playing on the field, and my cousin baby mama was attending the game and ended up sitting next to me. And we were talking, and my wife recalls the story differently than me, but I'm going to go with my wife's story because she's always right. Her story was, he said, "Hey, I got this opportunity, this workout group." I'm like, "Nah, I'm good. I don't want to work out. I got my thing in the basement. I don't need that. I'm good." He's like, "I really think you'd like it. You should try it." It's like, no, no, no. And then the third time he asked me, I said, "Sure, I'll give it a try." He's like, "Okay, we got this ruck club on Saturday." So my first workout was a Saturday before Labor Day. Was a ruck club, and it's 1040 easy. Had this old crankety ruck that he just threw weights in that we were ruffling it. It was sliding back and forth on my back, and I'm like, I kind of enjoyed that. And then I was with Squidward. I'm like, why does this guy keep talking to me? Like I had no clue. And then eventually learned, oh, that's the six. I thought he was
Uh-huh.
just being friendly and nice. So I had that workout on Friday, and then Monday was Labor Day, and it was Yellow Card's anniversary, and he just kicked the living crap out of me. It was crazy. We did motivators to 10. We ran with our coupons to the other pavilion, did a bunch of blockies, did a bunch of burpees. We did everything. And then we ran back to the pavilion, and then we did, I think it was Hurt So Good. the Bruce Springsteen song, and every time he said "hurt so good," you had to do a merkin. It ended up being like 65 merkins, and I'm like, I can't do these, and I'm dying, I'm sweating, and then from there, I was hooked. Like I've gone every day. I've had like 250 posts a year, and it's kind of been it's became part of my life and part of my lexicon. And my son Bueller really wanted to go. Like, Dad, after the first walk, can I come with you? Come with you. I'm like,
Really?
not yet. Let me get to see who these guys are. Let's see what this is about. And then that November, he joined me, and he's been posting a lot since. So that's kind of how I started in F3.
Yeah, it's really cool to see the two
That's
of you
us.
together out there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't realize baby mama was your cousin, so I learned a little something today.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So during that first workout, how did you get your F3 name?
You get in there, you get in the circle, and you start talking about yourself. And I'm a middle school principal, and Baby Mama is a loud person. If you don't know Baby Mama, and he shouted out Rooney right away, and that was the end of the discussion. So I am a Rooney from Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and my son is Bueller from Ferris Bueller's Day Off too. So it's a cool. I like my name. It could not as exciting as other people's names, but as Puddles said, either you're named after an embarrassing story or you're named after your job.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's package deal. Plus, a lot. I hear a lot of men say the man makes the name, not the opposite. So, yeah, name's just the name, right?
Yeah.
What is your typical posting cadence per week?
5 to 6. I try to get out every day during the week,
Yep,
um, and then try to hit a Saturday or two. So that's kind of my goal.
And
awesome.
we've been doing rucks and running on Sundays, so I'm sure
Yeah,
that's even more now.
I'm glad we're doing that. I hope I'm committed doing that. I think it's a good time. I think it's a good location. I do want to
Mhm.
spread it out and try to get outside of Hamel Woods, but hopefully it'll continue into the fall and into the winter, and it'll turn into something that Schlitz does.
Yeah,
Having those,
I'm a creature of habit, so I will be happy to go anywhere else. I just tend to go to the same place as long as I know it. So happy to expand that. I'm curious, you talked about starting your experience as at a ruck club and then going to a boot camp where, I've been those yellow card workouts where he just goes nuts. But I'm curious in general what your favorite type of workout is. You already talked about one of your favorite AOs,
yeah,
but what do you lean
it's
towards?
it. When I started, I was all about the ruck club. Like I thought
Mhm.
rucks were the best thing. I would never miss a Saturday. I would never miss a ruck. And then you kind of as you get in better shape and you kind of do more things, it kind of changes. So like right now I'm really into run clubs. Like I never thought I
Mhm.
would be really into run clubs, but I really enjoy that run club, that opportunity to run different paces and kind of learn how to run, which I appreciate, learning from you about the zones, learning from Picasso, learning from different packs about how to pace myself. And I think it's like
Mhm.
more of an education experience for me now with the run clubs is I'm learning that I don't just have to run fast and I don't have to gas myself out. So I'm learning about my pace, my cadence. How do I run? How do I breathe? So I'm learning about that. So that's kind of where I'm into right now. But I love a good boot camp. I love the ability. I like that boot camps very, very so much. Like you
Mhm.
can have no coupon and be on pearls on a string. You could have a coupon. Lift clubs have been cool. GrubX has used pavers. We've used the hill. We use different things. There's so many things you can learn and kind of do. So I think that's that in a run club. Run club is for learning. Boot camp is for just never know what you're showing up. Never know. That's what's cool about a
Mhm.
boot camp.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. That's one of the things that keeps it fresh. It keeps it so much different than just going to work out, going to a gym. We always try to we try to explain to guys who aren't familiar with what we do, why it's so much better, why it's so much more than just a workout group, but everything you just touched on that not only do you not know what you're going to get before you show up, but you also have an opportunity to learn from guys like learn how to lift. We had a lift club on Saturday, and there's just like I haven't lifted like that since like high school or college. I just don't. I haven't done deadlifts and stuff like that, but to do it with guys who know how to do it the right way is so important. And then, as you said, the run clubs, even EC runs, just running with stronger runners, running with guys who push me out of my comfort zone, I really appreciate too. One thing I wanted to have you talk a little bit about was your role as a member of SLT 1 here in Shamanwood. Maybe talk about what that group is and what the first F role is. For guys who just aren't familiar with how an organization like F3 is uniquely led, I'd love to hear some perspective from you on that.
Sure. SLT stands for Shared Leadership Team. I became a part of it after we decided to what we're going to do, like going back in time a little, going were we going to be Plainfield or we're going to separate in the Shamanwood. So the SLT of Plainfield talked about what they wanted to do and tasked some guys in our region about what do we want to do next. So I was one of the guys that was tasked to see if we're going to split or we're going to still continue to be part of the Plainfield region. So from there, the role, there's many different roles within there. We have 7 people on our SLT. We have a Nantan who's kind of oversees everything. We have a first F, second F, third F. We have a tech daddy. We have a comms Q. We have a weasel shaker, and we have a culture Q. So within those positions, we are a shared leadership team. The Nantan is kind of the overseer of it all, but we are pretty much equal where we have different roles and responsibility, and it's not a top-down model. It's a shared model. So as being the first F, my main job is the fitness side of it. So making sure we have site cues at every location, making sure we can identify men to rotate in and out of those site cues. In our first year, my main role was just queuing. I have had to queue a ton, which I really enjoy. So it's not been a task or a burden, but I feel that's a responsibility I had in the fall is to, there's an open spot I need to take it. Is there an open spot I need to take it? And the rest of the team says, let it sit till the day of. Let it sit. You're going to have to force people to get uncomfortable and take it. And my Q percentile is probably half of what it was, which is great to see the other people step up and be a Q. But now I got to find that balance of being when I want to queue compared to when I have to queue. I made all the flags in the region. I felt like that was something I needed to do as a first FQ to make sure we had that, those flags, making sure we have those site queues, making sure those site queues know what they're doing, what those responsibilities. And what I added when we got that settled, what I added for Memorial Day is I did a warrior workout for the week. I thought that was a really cool idea that we have a workout that honors a different service member. So I implemented that in the week after Memorial Day. So first F is really just focusing on the workouts, making sure people know what they're doing, make sure that you can be there to help them, and then giving that little push at the end of, hey, why don't you get a VQ? Why don't you lead this workout? And really being there to help packs who are not comfortable with a workout, help them design workouts.
What I think is really interesting is you're obviously by definition a leader in your work life. You're a principal of a middle school. That is by definition a leader. But how is leading either children, students, or the staff different from leading in F3?
There's a lot of similarities between middle school students and certain F3 packs. So there's definitely similarities within that. No names will be mentioned. But it's very, very similar. I think it's leading men, leading women, leading kids is the ability to see people be leaders within you. My job is not to lead everybody. My job is to grow leaders and grow people. I want people taking my jobs. I want my assistant principals to become principals. I want my teachers to become administrators. I want my students to lead the 8th grade students to lead the 6th grade students. So it's that encouragement piece. It's that the ability to know stuff is hard. Not everything's going to be perfect. That take that opportunity to do that. And then within F3, it's allowing people to run with an idea and not have to seek permission for an idea or not seek permission for a workout. Like Ricola did a great job with the Shamanwood Open. He just did it. He said, I'm going to do it. I said, that's great. I'll give you advice. But finding that balance of it's not Rooney's F1. It's not what Rooney wants to do. It's what the group wants to do. So that's probably the biggest difference is my name's attached to the school and what decisions we make at the school, I'm the final say of that. This is more of collective that we are doing this together. and I'm going to be there to support you and help you when you fail or celebrate your successes. But we're doing a group collaboration with things. And just because I'm first F doesn't mean I can't do a second F or a third F thing. Just because someone out Doghouse is on SLT and he does tech doesn't mean he can't do the first or second F thing. The roles are not as defined as in a school setting. I think would be the biggest difference, because it's the big thing is you have to understand it's a shared leadership team. So when we look for the next SLT, we're looking for a group, not an individual to lead that group.
And Doghouse, I wanted you to talk a bit too, because I don't think you've ever talked about your SLT experience on this podcast. But from your perspective, whether it's compared to your professional experience or independent of that and just focused on F3, what else would you say about the shared leadership team model in F3?
Yeah, we hit the nail on the head. So in my day job, I'm a cybersecurity architect, so I'm in IT. So naturally, I got the tap on the shoulder, but I got the tap from Norm. So I think he just didn't want to deal with being tech support. So Norm's in IT as well. So I'm just kidding. Yeah, he got he set us up with Slack and stuff in the initial. I'm a little more, for those who know in IT, I'm a little more on the infrastructure side. Grubex, who joined us a little later into our SLT, is a little more on, he does infrastructure as well, but he's a little more on the development website as well. So the website was a little more in his wheelhouse. So he kind of took over and really ran with that. I've tried to step in and do some of the social media, updating the info only and stuff like that, which is traditionally more of a comms queue role, which is what Grubex is. So we kind of, just like Rooney was saying, we all kind of pick up the slack. If we see an opportunity for second F, we all jump on it. That's Norm's strong suit. He's a second FQ, but there's no limitations. There's no gatekeeping. There's no permission asking. If we have a good idea, we'll throw it out there and run with it. So I'll echo a lot of what Rooney said.
Yeah. So Rooney, I wanted to close with this last question, which I always love asking and hearing how different men answer this question. But I'd really love to know in a couple of ways, if possible, how F3 has impacted your life over the last several years that you've been involved.
Let's start practical aspect. I always was a morning person, but now I'm an early morning person. So just like that lifestyle change is tremendous for me and my family. Is like, I get up at 4:30 every day. I go to bed at 9:00 every day. So practically, like, that has shifted my mindset and shifted that. I'm probably 48 years old, probably in the best shape of my life. I think it has given me the ability to do things I wouldn't normally do. Like today, puddles, we ran like 6 or 7 miles. That is not going to happen before F3. I'll be honest with you. That's not something I would do. Bear crawling, do all these exercises. Those aren't things I would normally do. I think it prepares me. Nothing in my day is going to be harder than 5:15 to 6 a.m. And I think that's that mindset you have to have. I love the COTs I hear, because that information I share with my staff, because that what we listen to and we hear in a COT doesn't just to apply those men in that circle. That applies to our lives. That applies to other people's lives. So seeing what other people go through and how other people share their information and share their ideas and share their honest feelings, how can we use that for the good of others and use that to push that forward? And it really has brought my son and I closer together. Like I talked about, Buell and I work out together. So I think that's a cool aspect of it as well, that you see that he's pushing me because he's 30 years younger than me, trying to get better. And he enjoys beating me. Not in many, like you think about that in life. We had our dads are here. We are here. It's that great leveler going out and working out in the morning, that this is something have all this. I'm different than my dad, but I'm better than my dad at this. And how cool would that be to see us do that for our dads and really see that ability to do something like that and do hard things. And I think it's a great lesson for him as well, that he can see that gloom, see what hard work pays off, see that ability that if I can do this, I can do that. Like how hard are grades and finals and stuff like that when I'm carrying a cinder block and doing burpees and blockies and running, doing crazy stuff. My favorite Bueller story real quick is it was a 12 days of Christmas, and Squidward put a black diamond. We're gonna do a black diamond run club. We're gonna run a 12K. And I'm like, he goes, I want to go. I'm like, you should go. I'm like, I'm sure you're not really going to run a 12K. And then he gets there and he's like, we're running a 12K. So he's running the 12K that we ran from the Olympiad all the way to the Wood and back. And I didn't go. I was doing my normal workout, and I get done with the workout, and there's this pair of gloves sitting on the hood of my truck. They were Bueller's glove. He left them for me to let him know he ran all that way.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
And just like I
so
read
much.
more. I've done 75 hard, and that's changed my eating habits and my drinking habits and what I value as much. So it's really been a total shift from like a spiritual shift to a physical shift to a mental shift. I really cannot envision not having this part of my life. And I want to put, like, not to get you wrong, like there's times that you don't want to work out. You're going to have that red pill, and there's days like, I don't want to do this, but you do it for everyone else. You don't do it for yourself at that point. Like, yeah, this is getting boring. This is getting whatever. You're there for the other people as well. And I think running has done from me, from doing ECs with puddles to doing ECs with soft hands to snail mail. That's been a great way to try something new and change my fitness level and get my fitness level somewhere else by running beforehand. So I've really enjoyed that for the last month. So I want to thank Puddles for my crazy miles in May idea, and it's kind of taken off.
Yeah, I'll come back to that by COT, but just to build on that, I talked a while back about how there's this big ripple effect that we really don't realize is happening. And just, meeting Rooney, now Rooney's daughter babysits my daughter, and I just saw his son as a lifeguard at the pool that we went to, like all this, and having drinks with him and his wife last night at the Shorewood Barbecue and Brews Fest. Like all this just starts to surround you, and you realize that F3 is not this thing in your life; it is all the things in your life. And I think that's just such a cool way of bringing it home from a life impacting perspective. So that's a great share. I appreciate doing it, Rooney. This last section, the third F section, gives us an opportunity to talk about all the things that are going on in the community. And this time of year, I feel like there's so much going on. The spring, the summer, we even have things going on into the fall. But Doghouse, if you had hit on a couple of these things that we have going on in the info only channel and even events coming up that may not be there, I'd love to wrap up with that and then the COT.
Yeah, I'll jump right into that. First thing I want to say though is I'm not Suns Out, Guns Out. I'm actually wearing our new F3 shirt, so I want to show that off real quick.
Yes.
We just got these in last week. Some of us think they're still coming out. That's the Picasso design. So
Yeah,
I want to shout that out for Picasso real quick.
that's he designed our shirts. I love it.
Yeah. So third F, upcoming opportunities for us. Friday, June 13th at 7 p.m. Axel's band, Loud and Loaded. Axel's one of our packs, as most of you know, is playing at Double J's in Joliet. Manuka Lions Club Summerfest 5K will be Saturday, June 14th. We also have the Shorewood Crossroads Parade and 5K on August 3rd. The following week, we have the Three Rivers Fest Parade, August 10th. And finally, end of the summer here, we have the Will County Brewing Company 5K on August 30th.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of opportunities to run, a lot of opportunities to go to a festival and bring your family out. Like I did last night, just having kids out in an environment where there are men there who and you can have a good time with, and seeing the wives meet each other is such a great way to bring F3 home. All right, I will close us with a COT. This is something I was kicking around a little bit last week. It's about consistency and how consistency beats intensity. If you think about throwing a bucket of water, even a huge gallon of water onto a rock, it really doesn't do anything aside from getting the rock wet. Yet, if you let a drop of water fall into a rock every day, like we see in glaciers and landscapes around the country, eventually it creates a hole over time, just that single drop every single day. I think that's interesting because most people, a lot of people, I'd say, really try to change their lives with one big effort. We see things like a crash diet or a drug or trying to win the lottery. It's something that if you take one big swing, hopefully it'll change your life. But that's not actually how real progress works. Consistency it isn't flashy. It's really quiet, actually. It's sometimes boring, but it works. And that's a lot of what we see every morning in the gloom. We're seeing it working for men every single day, 1% better, we say. I'll give a really quick example. When I first joined F3, I couldn't run a half mile without stopping. That's the distance from the back parking lot at the Wood to the park entrance. But now I've been running every single day, 7 days a week for the past 5 or 6 weeks. I notice in my phone's Garmin app that it's adding up. Like I'm not, the past several weeks, um, not 5 or 10 miles a day, but 1 to 3 miles a day. These EC runs with Rooney that we're talking about, and it's made a huge difference. Not all at once. That first day, that first week, there wasn't a huge distinction. It wasn't on day one, but it was over time. And so that's one of the things I think about is so special. I think about F3. And as Rooney said, instead of just relying on my own self-motivation, I'm taking that daily red pill every day. I've got guys like him calling me out to an EC run. This just happened last night. Like we were talking about doing a ruck on this Sunday morning, like a 4 mile ruck. And before that, we would do like 1 or 2 miles. And then he throws out this, well, let's do 3 miles. And I was like, oh man, I really don't want to run 3 miles. I had just run 3 miles the other day and didn't want to run that long, but I I talked myself into it. And I was like, all right, he's staying alongside me every step of the way. Most days, some days he's too fast for me, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it for him. I'm gonna go out and run the 3 miles. I'm gonna get that in. And then of course we show up today, and he's like, no, we're gonna go on a long run. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, 3 miles is a long run. Yeah, that's good. I can do 3 miles. Well, we weren't gonna ruck afterwards, so we get like out into Hamel Woods, and I'm not as familiar with the directions. So at like mile 2, Rooney says, hey, Puddles, do you want to turn back at 2.5 miles or 3? I'm like, wait a second. Wait, this doesn't loop around? Like, I thought we were running 3 miles. He's like, oh no, this is an out and back. It's like, oh shit. So it turned into a 5 mile run on top of the 1 mile that we ran before that. So today, when a buddy of mine texted me his results from the Lincoln Park Zoo 10K, he's like, yeah, I ran a 10K too. I did, just on accident. I did that. So to all the men in Shamanwood and in the region and beyond, of course, whether you're leading from the front or pulling up the rear, like I often am, just encourage you to keep showing up every day. Keep dropping water. Eventually, I know it, you're going to look back and realize that you didn't just move the rock, you shaped it. All right. So with that in mind, let's do the sign off as we always do. Rooney, why don't you go first? Name, age, F3 name.
All right. Tom Nowitzki, 48, Rooney.
Rooney. John Christ, 41, Doghouse.
Doghouse.
Ooh. And I'm Bill Skaronsky, 46, Puddles.
Puddles.
Men, thanks very much.
All right.